Hello English learners, and welcome back to another Level Up English video. I am here in the city I was born in today. So I've been planning this video for a while, and today I decided to give you a tour of the city I'm from. This is the city of Plymouth, which is on the southwest coast of the UK. It's basically been inhabited for, I think, over 1,000 years. So it's a very old city, and because of that, it has a lot of history too, and I want to cover some of that history today. It sits on the River Plym, which is where it gets its name. It's on the mouth of the River Plym. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a tour of the city, and right now I'm walking towards the best area. I think it goes without any argument. It's the best area, which is the Hoe, which is the name of the park by the sea here, very beautiful park. So we're walking there now. So I'm going to be showing you around, telling you about the history a little bit, and any new vocabulary that I mention, I will pop up on the screen here. So hopefully you can learn something while we are talking as well. So here I am on the Hoe, which is kind of a really flat, tarmacked area right by the sea over here, which you can see. And it's really, really beautiful. It's a little bit windy, so hopefully you can hear me, but it's a great place to come to relax. I've come here a lot to practice longboarding. People come here to cycle and things like that too. And there are often lots of events here as well, like music festivals and stuff like that. But what really fascinates me is all the history that's here. So I want to walk around a bit now and show you some interesting points of history and little tidbits and things like that. And I think you'll find it interesting. But I'll also turn the camera around now so you can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at here. So it's very, very beautiful. See lots of people down here by the water. One interesting piece of history is in 1572, Sir Francis Drake became the first Englishman to sail into the Pacific Ocean. And I think about 5 years later, he embarked on a trip. To embark on a trip is to leave on a trip, set sail. He embarked on a trip to circumnavigate the globe. That's a good word there, circumnavigate. Just means make your way around the world. So he went around the entire world, and he was the first Englishman to do so. And he did it from Plymouth, from this very point. Another thing he did here later on was he masterminded. To mastermind is to come up with some kind of clever plan or solution to defeat the Spanish Armada. And as the legend has it, he played a game of bowls here on the Hoe as the Spanish Armada was sailing up the English Channel. Another thing that he did is he established a colony in Virginia in America. This means he created a settlement there of British people, English people, and this is kind of widely considered to be the very start of the British Empire. And now here's another thing that I find really fascinating that I think even a lot of people who live here don't really know about. But this memorial here, this kind of rock, if you can see carefully, it commemorates the 1000th anniversary of the last Viking raid in Plymouth. So if you look at the bottom there, it says 997 to 1997. So it's 1000th year anniversary. So basically 1000 years ago, 1020 years ago now, there was a Viking raid up the river here. They burnt down some monasteries, and this stone commemorates 1000 years since that happened. And I guess it's also a nice symbol of the relationship between Norway and Sweden and Iceland, Scandinavian region, and England today. One more piece of interesting history here is Charles Darwin, who famously came up with the theory of evolution. He stayed in Plymouth before setting sail, embarking on his trip to the Galapagos Islands, and that's where he came up with his theory of evolution. And one of the maybe the most iconic landmark building in Plymouth is the Eddystone Lighthouse, which is right on the Hoe, overlooking the entire bay, overlooking the sea, and it's very striking and very kind of nice. And you can go up there. I think it costs £5 if you want to go to the top and have a look at the top. I did it, and I think it's kind of worth it. So one reason why this lighthouse is so special is because it was originally built way out there on the headland, on the coast, way out there. And then in the 1880s, it was actually taken down brick by brick, and most of it was rebuilt here on the Hoe. And these days, it's not actually used for its intended purpose. It's really just kind of a monument and a place for tourists to go. But the reason it was taken down is because the rock upon which it was standing in its original location was undermining the structure of the lighthouse, which basically just means it wasn't built very well and it was going to fall down. So either they had to move it and relocate it, or it was going to fall into the sea. And you might be able to see right at the top there, it's got the date 1759 when it was originally built, out at the sea over there. Because of its strategic position on the coast, the south coast of England, and not far from France and everything like that, Plymouth has had a military presence for quite some time. We've got a big naval base here, and because of that, it suffered quite a heavy bombing from the Nazis during World War II. So much of the centre of the city was completely destroyed and bombed, which is known as the Plymouth Blitz. And one thing that kind of gave the position away, so when the enemy planes were flying over the English Channel, they couldn't quite work out where Plymouth was. They would actually use the Lido to find the city from the air. So a Lido is like a big outdoor swimming pool like this one. There were many of them built in the Victorian times. They were very popular back then. But because it was so bright from the sky, the enemy could see the pool from the sky, and that's how they knew where Plymouth was. So it kind of led to a lot of the bombing, or at least it helped Plymouth get destroyed during World War II. So because the city was bombed so heavily during the Second World War, in the 1950s it was really quickly rebuilt, and if you go to the centre today, a lot of the buildings are honestly quite ugly. I think there's a lot of new ones being built today, but because it was built in such a rush, people tried to rebuild as quickly as possible. A lot of the buildings actually are not that attractive in the centre, which you can see in some of these videos now. But one benefit of this is the entire centre of the city could be rebuilt and replanned in a more sensible way for modern life. So as a result of that planning, if you go to the centre of the city now, it's all kind of very neatly laid out. We've got a nice pedestrian zone where usually there are no cars allowed. And it's actually why Plymouth is one of my favourite cities in the UK. I may be a bit biased because I'm from here, but there's so much area, so much space in the centre where you can relax and sit down, have a coffee, whatever like that, and you don't have to worry about traffic and noisy cars, and it's not too overcrowded because there's lots of places to walk. There's also a direct straight line if you go from the train station down to the coast, down to the sea here where the lighthouse is. It is a completely straight line, so it's very easy to navigate as well and find your way around. So now I'm walking towards the Barbican, which is a slightly older part of Plymouth where the harbour is, and there's also a lot of history that we can find here as well. And I'm about to show you one really interesting part that I find really fascinating, and it's right on the other side here. So behind me here, this is the point from which the Pilgrims set sail to the New World in 1620. So you can see here we've got the US and the UK flag to represent that at the top. So they eventually went on to establish a settlement over in what we now call America, called Plymouth, a new Plymouth community. So here we've got this memorial here to commemorate that event that happened in 1620, and if you go to the memorial in the US, in their Plymouth, they also have a similar one to commemorate the arrival into the New World. Another bonus tip, which isn't super interesting for me, but some of you might like to know, that Plymouth is also home to the largest aquarium in England, which is just over this bridge, that building over there. I have saved one of the most interesting pieces of history until the end here, so if you're watching until this point, then thank you very much. So where we're standing now is a really historic place, and there's a lot of stuff that has happened here in the past, as explained by this sign on the wall here. On this spot in 1765, nothing happened. So as you can see from this video, there's a lot to do in Plymouth. Honestly, the tourist office should be paying me for this, and yeah, history wherever you look. So thank you very, very much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you kind of got a good impression of the city here, because I do really love this city and I think it is One that everyone should visit if they have the time. I think there's a lot you can do here considering how far it is away from London. Also, remember to let me know in the comments if you learned anything new, if you learned any new vocabulary today, or if you just enjoyed watching. That motivates me to keep making more of these as well. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now. If you're interested, you can check out the full lesson for this YouTube video, where you can find live subtitles, worksheets, more detailed explanations, quizzes, and teacher feedback, and all of this around this video at Level Up English members. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link in the description or go to levelupenglish.school and go to the members page to sign up. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you find the bonus worksheets helpful as well. Thank you for watching.